The digital world reeled on June 3, 2025. A shadowy hacker collective, known as Shadow Syndicate, claimed responsibility for an event dubbed Cyber Armageddon. This was not hyperbole. The group announced they had successfully breached and dumped an astonishing 3 billion user records. This act immediately signaled the largest data breach in history. The sheer scale was difficult to comprehend. It sent immediate shockwaves across governments, corporations, and the general public. The era of digital insecurity had reached a terrifying new peak, with citizens worldwide abruptly facing an unparalleled level of exposure. The compromised data was a treasure trove for cybercriminals. It included highly sensitive personal and financial information. Passwords, a primary key to our digital lives, were exposed on a massive scale. Phone numbers, often used for two-factor authentication, were also part of the dump. Critically, detailed financial transactions were laid bare. This information was siphoned from a vast array of sources. Popular social media platforms, widely used e-commerce sites, and trusted banking systems were all victims. No corner of the digital economy seemed untouched by this colossal security failure, leaving billions vulnerable. This breach surpassed all previous incidents in its immediate, devastating impact. While past events like the Yahoo breach affecting its 3 billion accounts were significant, their full scope often unfolded over years. Cyber Armageddon, however, was an instant cataclysm. The nature of the initially released data, including active financial details, made it uniquely dangerous. Reputable news organizations including Bloomberg and The Guardian quickly worked to verify the claims. Their reports confirmed the grim reality. The data was legitimate, and the threat was very real, marking a dark day for global cybersecurity. The initial reaction was one of widespread panic and a profound sense of digital violation. Individuals and organizations alike struggled to grasp the implications. How could so much data, from so many varied sources, be compromised simultaneously? The digital identities and financial security of a significant portion of the global population were suddenly at risk. This event didn't just expose data, it exposed deep vulnerabilities in the systems we rely on daily. A chilling uncertainty descended as people scrambled to understand their personal exposure and protect themselves from the fallout. Among the stolen information were 1.2 billion credentials belonging to Fortune 500 companies. This specific dataset represented a critical threat to global commerce and corporate security. These credentials could unlock sensitive trade secrets, internal communications, and financial systems of the world's largest corporations. Shadow Syndicate reportedly employed sophisticated quantum brute force tools. These advanced techniques allegedly allowed them to crack encrypted passwords that were previously considered secure. This highlighted a significant leap in the capabilities of cybercriminal organizations, posing new challenges for enterprise defense. The breach also exposed an alarming 700 million financial transaction histories. These records were not mere summaries. They included full bank routing numbers, offering a direct pathway into victims' financial accounts. This component of the breach went far beyond simple identity theft. It armed criminals with the necessary information to execute unauthorized transfers, commit widespread fraud, and potentially destabilize financial institutions. The meticulous collection of such detailed transactional data indicated a highly targeted and patient attacker, capable of infiltrating deeply into banking and payment processing systems. Adding to the immediate financial threat, the hackers managed to obtain 47 million active credit card CVV codes. These 3 or 4-digit codes, essential for online transactions, are rarely stored by merchants due to their sensitivity. Their appearance in the data dump was particularly shocking. Reports quickly emerged that these CVV codes were already circulating on dark web marketplaces. This meant that criminals could begin making fraudulent purchases almost immediately, leading to direct and swift financial losses for millions of individuals and their issuing banks before many even knew they were compromised. The attackers, Shadow Syndicate, achieved this unprecedented access by weaponizing a zero-day flaw. This previously unknown vulnerability existed within cloud identity systems. These systems are fundamental to the operations of major cloud providers like Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. By exploiting this flaw, the hackers could bypass authentication mechanisms and gain widespread access to data stored across numerous platforms and services. The compromise of such foundational infrastructure explained the vast and diverse nature of the stolen data, shaking confidence in cloud security. The economic repercussions were swift and severe. Wall Street, the heart of global finance, was forced to halt trading. This drastic measure came after an estimated $28 billion inexplicably vanished from various fintech applications within a mere 3-hour window. The speed of this financial hemorrhaging showcased the attackers' ability to weaponize the stolen data almost instantaneously. It created chaos in the markets. Investors and financial institutions scrambled to understand the extent of the damage and prevent further losses, highlighting the fragile interplay between cybersecurity and economic stability. Beyond the financial markets, the breach had dire consequences for public health and safety. Hospitals globally began reporting a surge in ransomware attacks. These attacks were particularly insidious, as they leveraged stolen patient data obtained directly from the cyber Armageddon breach. Critical hospital systems were encrypted and patient care was severely disrupted. Sensitive medical records were used to pressure institutions into paying ransoms. This malicious tactic turned a data breach into a life-threatening crisis, demonstrating the callous disregard of the attackers for human well-being. Recognizing the transnational nature and severity of the crisis, Europol issued an emergency Interpol alert. This alert mobilized law enforcement agencies across member countries. It aimed to coordinate efforts to track the Shadow Syndicate, mitigate the ongoing damage, and warn an already panicked public. The Interpol alert underscored the fact that this was not a localized incident. It was a global security emergency, requiring an unprecedented level of international cooperation. The challenge was immense, given the attackers' sophistication and their use of anonymizing technologies. Shadow Syndicate quickly followed their data dump with a chilling manifesto and a ransom demand. They demanded $10 billion to be paid in Monero, a privacy-centric cryptocurrency favored for illicit transactions. The deadline was stark, midnight on June 3, 2025. Failure to meet this demand, they threatened, would result in the release of even more sensitive information. This included highly personal biometric data and private details regarding sexual orientation. This threat of doxing on a massive scale added another layer of terror, targeting individuals at their most vulnerable. This Cyber Armageddon event has now set a grim new benchmark for data breaches. It eclipses previous record holders, such as the 2013 Yahoo breach, which affected all 3 billion of its user accounts. While Yahoo's breach was enormous, its full impact and the nature of all the data compromised were disclosed over several years. In stark contrast, Cyber Armageddon's initial dump included immediately weaponizable data like active credit card CVVs and detailed financial transaction histories. This made its immediate proclaimed impact far more destructive and widespread, changing our understanding of largest data breach. The breach occurred against a backdrop of an already dramatically heightened cyber threat landscape in 2025. Current statistics paint a terrifying picture. Nearly 54 individuals fall victim to cyber attacks every second. The year 2024 alone witnessed 6.54 billion malware attacks, an 8% increase year over year. Furthermore, businesses lost an estimated $6.3 billion to sophisticated business email compromise scams. This relentless barrage of attacks demonstrates that cybercriminals are becoming more numerous, more sophisticated and more successful in their illicit endeavors, making events like Cyber Armageddon increasingly plausible. The financial toll of cybercrime continues to escalate alarmingly. The average ransomware payment has now reached a staggering $850,700. However, the total losses per incident, including recovery costs and business disruption, average a much higher $4.91 million. Adding to this, attacks targeting the rapidly expanding Internet of Things sector saw a 124% increase in the past year alone. Each IoT attack incurs an average cost of $330,000. These figures illustrate the immense financial burden that cyber insecurity places on the global economy and individual organizations. The Cyber Armageddon breach serves as a brutal wake-up call. The sheer audacity and technical prowess of Shadow Syndicate underscore the urgent need for a paradigm shift in cybersecurity. Complacency is no longer an option. Enhanced security measures, proactive threat intelligence sharing, and robust international cooperation among law enforcement agencies are paramount. Individuals too must practice heightened vigilance and adopt stronger personal security habits. We have entered a new, more perilous chapter in the ongoing cyber war where the stakes are higher than ever before.